Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Todd Talk, a weekly presentation from Oklahoma Baptist University Athletics. I'm your host, Todd Miller. This is episode 4. We talk with legendary track and field head coach Ford Mastin. We also appreciate our past guests, baseball head coach Chris Cox, softball head coach Sam Maples, and last week, a great chat with tennis coach Jason Proctor. We welcome into our show Ford Mastin. Coach, how have you been during these difficult times?
Filling days with trying to get better and trying to keep my family happy.
These are certainly a different type environment we're living in today, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
So what have you been up to since your track and field season was cut short?
Well, just kind of waiting on what kind of relationship we can have with our incoming freshmen and returning athletes and making sure that they have structure and develop. And right now we have a pretty decent group and doing what they should do. And the incoming freshmen look like they're going to contribute. So it just seems weird. What is the second?
Yeah.
It seems like mid-July. So I don't know. It's the timing and the feel of how things should be going. It's a little weird.
One of the things I think, because you've had such consistency in your program over time, is that you've had kids that come in, whether they're returning or they're newcomers, that take care of business in the off season. But because of the way the season ended, because you can't have certain contact with kids now, you're relying on them to take care of their own business now more than maybe ever you have before, right?
Right. And I'm trying to push them to encourage each other. We've had 2 Zoom meetings that everyone showed up and just sometimes just seeing somebody is inspirational and encouraging. We're just trying to keep it rolling. Our particular sport has a lot to do with the hard things, the conditioning, the suffering, things like that. And sometimes those are not quite as easy to do on your own. The ones that do, that really separate themselves as being special. Our goal is trying to get those that do to be a greater percentage.
I've asked all the coaches to this point. I'm going to ask you, how difficult was it, Ford, when you guys were packing up and getting ready to go to Birmingham, Alabama for the National Indoor Championships, to go tell this group of athletes, and especially your seniors who have been so good for you on a consistent basis so long, hey guys, we're done. This is the way it's going to end. We
had actually just finished the last little workout, kind of sharpen up there at the Birmingham complex. And we had traveled to downtown Birmingham to visit some of the civil rights parks. And when I got the text, we were standing in front of the church had been bombed. And the scene, the statues behind us were the day the children, there were about 1,100 children that were, sicked on by the German shepherds and the water hoses and all that was there. And one of our foreign athletes looking at those statues and just trying to see what was going on, he said something that was just amazing. I'll never forget. He looked at everybody and said, "Why would someone do this to someone else?" We were, and that right before that was when I got the call, and the athletes knew, and there were a lot of tears. So we were actually there getting ready, and from that day on, it's just been, what do we do? How do we do it? How can we keep everyone moving? How can we keep our grades going? How can we keep those assignments going in and staying motivated? So the ones that are mature enough to deal with this, it'll be a memory and some ammunition in their character that will really help them in life. For those that just couldn't get things done and made bad grades and haven't trained, I just wish we could have been there to kind of help that process along a little bit. So I have a lot of mixed emotions about where we are and how we feel. This will be the start of my 25th year coaching at OBU, and there's been 2 other occasions in my 25 years that we we're able to get commitments and enrollment from the best male and best female Oklahoman. You know, the ones that, you know, we have a girl that chose us over KU or Roberts and TU.
Wow.
And the guy, OU, OSU, Wichita State, you know, just a lot of big schools. And there's only been 2 other times that we've got the, and I think if you ask anybody in the state, they would say, yeah, that's the best kid in the state. So in spite of our struggles and uncertainty, we have 2 really good athletes coming in, and sometimes that just makes everyone better. It makes the people that are on the team go, wow, this freshman, I better do something. And all the other freshmen come in and going, you know, I'm going to do this too. So and those 2 other occasions really led to some great performances and great teams. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to happen.
You know, Ford, I've asked all of our other guests on this show, as we're talking with Ford Mastin, the 11-time National Coach of the Year and the NAIA and 10-time National Champion head coach of OBU's track and field. I've asked them all, do you really feel like your team was hitting its stride? I mean, I know that at the start of the year, you guys had set a goal to have 12 NCAA qualifiers. You had 11 of those in the indoor track and field championships. Could this have been your most successful run indoors since you've been D2?
Well, D2, yes. I got an email, James, you might know more about this. It looks like Division II is going to call All-Americans by their performances that they qualified under. For instance, if you're in the top 8, you're going to be All-American. I don't think they're going to accumulate a team score from that, at least awarding those kids something. And what's interesting, out of those 11 kids that made it, there were 2 that went in 9th. So they needed that meet.
Wow.
Move ahead of someone and do it. The rest of them were in the top 8, and we will see how that continues, and if that really is going to be something that recognizes them as All-American. Yeah, we were a year 2 indoor seasons ago, not 1 male qualified, and this year we went with 6. So it's good to be on the right track, but we're certainly not in that situation where we show up and everyone has already figured out the points and go, wow, there's OBU, there's the team to beat. I mean, that happened many times. It happened, you know, out of the 18 championships we've won, we were probably the target on our back probably 7 or 8 times, you know. So now we're going in trying to just get respect, trying to be in the top 10, and that could have happened this year. Sometimes the only way to be in the top 10 is maybe have 2 really good athletes that score points. If you can get, this sounds a little bit wimpy, but if you can get in the teens, like 13 to 18 points, you're in the top 10. And 2 or 3 athletes can do that. We have one really good Jamaican. I mean, she's probably in her age group, maybe 4th or 5th in the world. And she's taken the ACT to make sure the NCAA deems her eligible. And we don't know if that's going to be in June. We got to figure out when Jamaica's going to offer it. If not, it might have to be that she waits until the fall. But we've got a commitment for her, and we've talked to her many times, and she had a lot of other choices, and so we're excited. The best thing is all those championships were usually headed by 1 or 2 girls from her high school. And so she knows them and what they did, what they accomplished, and how they did here, and that helped a lot. Her high school coach is their high school coach, and we have a good relationship. So sometimes athletics is about trust and hope and relationships and people that can depend on each other. And it's been a long time coming, but we've developed some relationships around the world. We just got another email from a girl from South Africa. We have 3 South Africans on the team, and word is getting out that this is a place that that you can learn and be cared for and develop. And the only problem is the South Africans that come do not experience a summer. So they come here, and our winter, if they come in August, it's their spring, and instead of January being their summer, it's our winter. And if they have a chance to go home, and only one of the three were able to go home, they're going home to their summer. They're going home to their winter. And so the two that are here, not by will, they'd rather be home, but they're here experiencing their first summer in 2 years.
I want to ask you, Ford, because you and I talked a couple of years ago about this, going through the transition where you were so dominant in the NAIA now to Division II. I don't want to say you had to temper your goals, but realistically, you've kind of changed your goals, haven't you? I mean, taking little baby steps and building this program almost from ground up again against totally different competition.
Our strategy was always based around a particular group of athletes. The 400, the 600, the 800, the 1,000, the distance medley relay, the 4x800, and the mile relay. Those were 7 events that kind of the same athlete really score a lot of points in. We'd have 12 or 13 girls and 12 or 13 guys in that event group and score 50 points in each gender in that event group. The NCAA, there's no 4x800, there's no 600, there's no 1,000. And so that tradition we had and the pipelines we had, now it's turned a little bit more to decathletes, heptathletes, maybe a field event runner or athlete or two, but there's still the mile relay indoors and the distance medley, and we're trying to develop those and do as good as we possibly can. So a lot of the people, I have 5 assistants that have been here at OBU that are coaching in Division I or II right now, and they always look at me going, "You lost your formula, didn't you?" Because we had what we did really going well. And they knew exactly, because they were on the staff. They knew what they were doing, and they contributed to it. It's taken a little bit. Sometimes you have to find that great individual that just wants to come to OBU eventually, and priority-wise and their values. And so that's why I'm excited about these 2 particular athletes in Oklahoma. They bought into what we're going to do here at OBU, and it didn't happen in 1 week. We cultivated them over a 2.5, 3 year period, and it worked out. And there's a lot that we do and don't work out. So this is exciting. One is from Edmond Memorial, and one is from Santa Fe South. His superintendent was his coach, and he and his daughter are OBU graduates. So it was a good connection. And the other girl, we just have a great long pipeline of Edmond athletes, Edmond North, Edmond Santa Fe, Edmond Memorial, and Anna Helker Fields had a lot to do to help with that. To have a girl that 5-year professional and one of the best athletes in the world, made her living being on TV and making money, that really helped that Edmond group. And so some of this success was a long time developing, and it wasn't easy, but it's great to see those things come to fruition and to have some athletes that will want to follow in their steps. And that's what's happening.
Legendary track and field head coach Ford Mastin is our guest here on episode 4 of Todd Talk. If you've missed any of our prior 3 episodes, visit OBU's YouTube page. Ford, I want to talk a little bit about recruiting. Now that you've ushered in a new era, you're in Division II, you're able to get arguably the top 2 athletes, male and female, in track and field in the Sooner State to come to OBU. You're also becoming even more well accepted internationally, like you said, South Africa. Is it easier to go into kids' homes and go, look, this is the type athlete we're bringing in. This is the type program that you can be a part of going forward for 4 years.
Yep. A picture is worth 1,000 words. And when they see a picture of someone that's made All-American or a national champion and they see the ring, that goes a long way. I think it's also great when you find a parent or parents that see the value of OBU and want their child to be a part of that. So, you know, there's a combination of a lot of things that help that happen. We'd lose some. I mean, I'm not going to tell you our success record on great recruits, but you just keep working. You always working on the next junior class, and all the assistants know their assignments and their responsibilities, and it's just it's a every week of the year, even the summers. Usually right now, at least every other day, I'm showing someone on campus. And that's not happening right now. We made a little video of our facilities and one of our girls narrated her way through it. And I've sent that out to 20 athletes or so. So I look forward to the day that we can bring people back and they can sense our spirit and the environment here, and the parents would see our value and what their child may be able to experience and how we can help develop them. And so yes, recruiting is a big key, but part of that recruiting picture is that we can point to athletes that have come and adhered to our program and had great success. And a lot of times they're the ones that are willing to call and talk to people. It goes a long way when somebody is a principal of a school or a physical therapist or a dentist or a lawyer, and they're talking to an athlete. A lot of times when I know their major and they know what they want to do, I'll find one of our former athletes with that experience and that background. They're the ones calling them, and that goes a long way. We have a girl that graduated last year that is in the pachyderm group at the Oklahoma City Zoo. She works with the hippos, rhinos, and elephants. And we actually had a girl that was interested in biology about a month ago, and that conversation happened between those two. You can't put a value on that.
No.
That was awesome. So, and she called me and said, "Hey, I think this girl's interested." It was fun talking to her, and that girl was from Wichita, Kansas, and she's coming. So recruiting is a community, that's for sure.
And, you know, when we talked a couple of years ago, and you've really kind of almost answered this next question today, one of the things that you pointed out to me about Ford was you're not just recruiting an athlete, you're recruiting them to become a complete person, to enhance their Christian experience, and to be a very good student. Oklahoma Baptist University is a great academic university. It's not an easy school, but you guys had almost 30 members of the AD's academic honor roll this past spring, a school record 353 at OBU. It's about the complete process, not just running track or field for you.
Definitely. Usually if they're a good athlete or a committed, disciplined athlete, then that carries on to other things. And just, you can say the same thing about if they're a good student, sometimes that helps them be a more committed athlete. Probably the tie that's the best thing is they've got a high energy level and they're in good shape. And if they're a good time manager, things work well in all sides of their life.
One guy I want to ask about is Hayden Ashley. I know Hayden personally from his football career, but man, what a special young man he is. I mean, just the complete package. He puts in the work, and he's just a terrific student athlete as well.
And I called a girl yesterday from his high school, and one reason, why do you think she might have been interested in coming? Hayden Ashley.
Yeah.
It really, you know, he will help us for years to come because he was willing to do everything right, and that, you know, that's just exciting. am intimidated a little bit that he's willing to come back for this 5th year, because he was ready to go. He was ready to start that MBA and go on, but he's so competitive. It's just frustrated him to not have made All-American and to not have maybe, this was the year that maybe he'd try to get enough points to make the Olympic trials. But with the trials being pushed back and him having another year for his body to really mature, the 7-event indoors is not going to happen because they won't give him their indoor back. But the outdoor 10-event decathlon will happen. And it'll also be, it'll be finished about 3.5 weeks before our Olympic trials. So if he gets a great score and maybe can increase his score by about 5%, he might make the Olympic trials. And we, as far as I know, we've only had about 7 athletes in the history in 100 years of OBU track.
Wow.
Olympic trial. I mean, we've had many Olympians, 10, but only 2 of those have been American. So the other 8 were internationals. And so to make the Olympic trials is a big deal. I've got a guy that was a national champion 21 times, and he didn't make the trials. I mean, he was the national champion, not an All-American 21 times. And it's not easy in America to make the Olympic trials. And Hayden has an outside chance. Staying healthy, getting a little bit more mature, able to handle some of the difficulties of that event, 10 events, and be able to do all of them a little bit better, he has a chance. So I think he's, and he knows there'll never be a time that he'll be able to do it again.
Right.
So I think he's looking and saying, I don't have regrets that I didn't give it everything. So he's going to give up a whole year to come back and compete just in the outdoor. But it worked out. I mean, this sounds awful that they delayed the Olympics, but for him in particular, he might make our Olympic trials.
It's awesome news. No wonder you're grinning from ear to ear. Ford, we can talk for hours. I appreciate you. Great job. Continued success on Bison Hill, and nice to see you again.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks for doing this and letting our supporters know a little bit more about our programs and us, and maybe they'll feel more confident in supporting us and feeling happy about being associated with us. Thank you.
You betcha, Ford. Great to see you again. Ford Mastin, the head track and field coach at Oklahoma Baptist University, our guest on episode 4 of Todd Talk. Coming up next week, we talk women's golf with head coach Mike Van Lepig. For Ford Mastin, I'm Todd Miller. Todd Talk, a weekly presentation of Oklahoma Baptist University Athletics. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.